Superpowers are undoubtedly super cool, but we all know that they are not real, right? Well, maybe it's time to have a rethink, because these kids have qualities that could certainly be considered superpowers. But don't take my word for it. Let's look at what these kids are about. 1. Giuliano Stroe. In 2009, when Giuliano was just 5 years old, he set the world record for the fastest ever 10 meters, 33 feet, hand walk with a weight ball between his legs. This was not a kid's category or anything like that. At 5, Giuliano was just showing feats of strength that many adults can only dream of like it was nothing. If that isn't a superpower, I don't know what is. He has also continued to set and break other records that show just how extraordinarily strong he is, including records for 90-degree push-ups, human flag pull-ups, and muscle-ups. 2. Adam Kirby. Adam Kirby's kind of super strength is the mental kind. At just the age of 2, this superhuman got admitted into Mensa UK, which is basically the society for those with a super high IQ. Adam wasn't even speaking in full sentences at the time, but he was already able to spell up to 100 words, had memorized the periodic table, and could recite the times table up to 10. When he took the IQ test, he scored 142 on the Stanford Binet, which is 10 points higher than the minimum Mensa acceptance score. 3. Alani Dos Santos. Stories of preachers performing miracles are not new, but not many of them are young girls in Brazil. According to Alani Dos Santos, all she does is lay her hands on people and either pray or worship, and people are receiving their healing. We're talking about people with cancer, HIV, and other terminal illnesses apparently receiving their healing. It's crazy, really. People travel for hours to her father's church to get the chance to meet with Alani. And according to her mother, Alani's healing power started right from when she was still in the womb. 4. Natasha Demkina. While Alani heals people, Natasha has the interesting ability to figure out people who are sick without any tests. They should probably team up and form some kind of healing X-Men. Natasha's ability to find out if someone has an illness comes from her ability to see into people's bodies. We're talking about organs, tissues, and probably also what you had for lunch. According to Natasha, this incredible ability just kind of came to her when she was 10 years old. She just found out that she could see into her mother's body and has been using that power for good ever since. 5. Sung Sung. There are musical prodigies, and then there is Sung Sung. Sung Sung first came into people's radar when a video of him playing the piano went viral on YouTube back in 2012. He was just 5 years old in that video, but he was playing the piano like he had been around for much longer. He started playing the piano when he was just 3 years old, which is quite incredible already. But at 5, he was performing complex music pieces, including the almighty flight of the bumblebee. Septists immediately cried foul, claiming that the video had to be a fake. But Sung Sung showed the world by performing that piece live on The Ellen Show. Talk about a boss move. 6. Young Titus. Some superpowers are super specific, just like young Titus's trick shots. If you've ever been around a 2-year-old, you would agree that coordinated is not one of the words that you would use to describe them. And while that definitely applied to tutus for the most part, when it came to making basketball shots, he broke that stereotype every single time. His dad, knowing how incredible this was, decided to record his son taking these shots and posted them on YouTube. Of course, because they were recorded, it's easy to think that the shots were faked. But young Titus has done his trick shots live a number of times, even putting a spin on things to make landing the shots more difficult. And he hasn't missed once. Incredible. 7. Ramses Sanguino. Ramses Sanguino is completely out of this world. First of all, he is a child savant at 5 years old, learning 7 languages, and solving complex mathematical equations. He also has the incredible ability to correctly remember things like the value and suits of playing cards. But as if all of that wasn't incredible enough, he also apparently has telepathic powers. In fact, that's how the world got to know about him. His mom posted a video online of the young boy guessing numbers that were written out of his sight. 8. Deepak Junggara. Deepak Junggara is who Electro wishes he was. Well, kinda. While Deepak cannot necessarily channel electricity, he can receive many volts without breaking a sweat. There are videos of him online playing with live wires without any damage to himself. And all those videos always come with warnings to not try it at home because normal people like us could not survive it. Science says that the electricity lethality rate for humans is between 100 and 250 volts, even though there was one person that could not survive 42. But Deepak has received up to 11,000 volts of electricity like it is nothing. Please, don't try this at home. 9. Yang Jilung. One of the things that kids really love is getting piggybacks from whoever is willing to give them. But Yang Jilung decided to do things differently by giving his dad a piggyback when he, the kid, was just about 7 years old. And his dad is not a small man. He weighs about 90 kilograms. Yang has not only lifted his dad though. He has also been seen effortlessly carrying a 40 kilograms bag of wheat and a 100 kilograms bag of cement. And one time, he pulled a van that weighs 1.85 tons with a rope tied around his waist. Fits of strength like this are not even common with adults. So for a child, it can only be considered a superpower. 10. Tanishq Abraham. If there are only a few people that the word genius applies to, Tanishq would be one of the few. At age 11, he had graduated high school and obtained 3 associate degrees. He then went on to graduate from college summa cum laude at the age of 14 and obtained his PhD at 19. His parents noticed early on that Tanishq is super smart. So, they started feeding him with knowledge that was way above what he should have been able to understand at his young age. But he just continued to eat it up and, thankfully, his parents allowed him to soar. And now he is one of the most extraordinary child prodigies in the world. 11. Aurelian Heyman. Another person with a superhuman mind is Aurelian Heyman, but you'll have to determine for yourself whether his mind is a blessing or a curse. Aurelian was 14 years old when he noticed that there was something different about his memory. He could remember, in exact detail, everything that he had experienced in the past, well, up until he was about 11. And by exact details, we're talking about what the weather was, what song was playing in the background, and what the random person that walked across was wearing. No one else in his family, and very few people around the world, share this superpower. Aurelian has been diagnosed with hyperthymesia, a condition that only 60 people around the world have that makes it possible for them to remember unusually large amounts of information. 12. Maya Gamata. Videos on 9-year-old Maya Gamata went viral a few years back because she could seemingly read things without seeing them. There are many videos that show her reading texts and even identifying colors while being blindfolded. Medical experts have tried to figure out how she is able to do this, but she remains a marvel. 13. The Magnetic Kid. Back in 2011, 6-year-old Croatian kid, Ivan Stiljakovic, gained worldwide attention for something really interesting. He's basically a human magnet. Everything from silverware to crockery have been known to stick to his skin without falling. Ivan has managed to carry up to 25 kilograms of metal on his body, thanks to his supposed sticky skin. His parents have even claimed that his superpowers do not end there. Apparently, he also has healing hands and superhuman strength. And even if those two are a stretch of the truth, the fact that his skin is somewhat magnetic is still really cool. 14. the night eye. China's Nong Yusui has some of the most unusual eyes you've ever seen. For one, his eyes are sky blue in color, which is quite unusual for a Chinese person. On top of that, his eyes are kind of like those of a Siamese cat in that they flash neon green when illuminated by a flashlight. But neither of those is his superpower, even though it is really cool. Apparently, his cat-like eyes make it possible for him to see in the dark. And it's not just about seeing random objects. He has supposedly done really specific things, like filling out questionnaires in a pitch-black room. Nong is definitely someone you want around in the case of a blackout. 15. Boris Kapryanovich. If you know anything about superheroes, you know that not all of them are Earth natives. Well, we just so happen to have our very own out-of-this-world superhero in Boris Kapryanovich. According to him and his parents, Boris is a real-life Martian. His mom claims that she knew that something was unusual about him when his birth was quick and painless for her. And, apparently, when he was born he looked at me with the eyes of an adult. Her suspicions were seemingly confirmed when he started speaking simple words at 4 months old and simple sentences at 8 months. But it wasn't until he was about 2 years and could reveal detailed information about Mars and the wider planetary systems that his mom started suspecting that he might be an alien. After all, most 2-year-olds don't even know much about Earth. Talk more of another planet altogether. 16. Daniel Kish. Ben Underwood perfectly embodies the saying that there is ability in disability. He had to have his eyes removed at the age of 3 because of retinal cancer. So, he had to rely on his own echolocation really early on. Now, being a human echolocator is nothing new. However, what is special about Ben is that he taught himself this skill when he was just 5 years old. And thanks to this skill, he was able to engage in all kinds of interesting activities, like rollerblading, skateboarding, and playing basketball. He was so good that his childhood doctor considered him one of the most proficient human echolocators. And he went on to teach other blind people to echolocate with clicks, but he unfortunately passed in 2009 due to cancer. 17. Emma Tablet. This is probably the most brain-bursting superpower on this list. How do you explain the ability of a young girl to make fire appear out of nowhere? A number of people have tried to investigate the issue since a video of the girl burning something popped up on the internet. But the conclusion seemed to be the same. She is just able to burn things without any source of fire. So, basically the Human Torch without actually being on fire herself. She actually seems cooler or hotter. Is there a superhuman kid that you think should have made it to this video? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments section below.